Hello everybody, my name's James. Welcome to double game week 7 deadline stream, and it's live. And as ever, the deadline stream is brought to you in partnership with FPL Team, your best one-stop shop for all your FPL planning. Shout out Peter, hope you're well, mate. Right, graphics on screen, which will answer many of the questions. I'm not going to go through all of it, but team on screen. I took a -4 last Sunday night, bought in Sven Botman and Heung-min Son for Ben Chilwell and Marcus Rashford. Yes, Saliba, Botman, Son, Maddison, Saka, all flagged. I think they will start, tell you the truth. I've got Doku and Udogie in reserve if two of them miss out. I don't think it'd be required, to be totally honest. And there's a few who should think I should play Doku over Saka. I don't even think Doku's a certain starter, to be honest. But I do have him in my predicted lineup. I have those 5 all in my predicted lineup. So I'm lining up this week with Turner in goal instead of Johnston. So it's Saliba, Botman, Estupinan, Maddison, Son, Saka, Mitoma, Alvarez, Haaland and Watkins. Won't be any surprise to anybody that Haaland is captain. I think Haaland, you could make a little case for Carlton Morris. If those are captain Carlton Morris this week because the double, be my guest. Very best of luck. Right below me, you'll see the benching dilemmas screen. That will rotate during the course of the stream. Those run through pages 1 to 4 with outfield players and they run in order. Those are preference of players that I would pick to start. Page 5 will also have goalkeepers as well. Right at the bottom, you'll see the ticker, next 5 game weeks for all 20 teams. And rotating with the captaincy picks, you'll see my correct score predictions for all 11 games being played in this double game week 7. Because, of course, it is a double game week for Luton and Burnley. We are circa 54 minutes from deadline. Let's get into your questions. I'll try and get through as many as I can before the deadline. Repeat similar questions may just be skipped. Apologies in advance. Kartik Rao says Chilwell and Sterling are going out. Can't get to Trippier without a hit. Best Sterling replacement Gordon/Diaby/Ward-Prowse. Can't decide. Also, can I avoid hit by keeping Sterling and get Archer instead? Who are you selling for Archer though? Preference from them, and again, is it short-term decisions? Is it long-term? You want 1 week player? I think it's James Ward-Prowse in my opinion. A little bit longer term, I think just go Diaby. The run starts basically now for Villa and from an offensive perspective. So Brighton and Wolves, and it just gets better and better. So Diaby for me. Kartik says Captain Alvarez last week by mistake. Oosh. Lee Sherwood says, hey mate, Sky question first. I'm sitting on only Jackson from Sunday and Monday games. Would you do Edison to Flecken Sunday and Jackson to Thiago Silva Monday? Any other options welcomed? Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that. Different way of doing it would just be Jackson to Awen Yi. And then look at something else to Thiago Silva, but that plan seems perfectly fine to me, Lee. MRCX says, hello James, beautiful weather here in Austria. Nice. How's London? Yeah, pretty nice today actually. Mrs. Tat and Harry off to the beach in Norfolk. So I've got the pad to myself. Party round at James's house. Who to bench out of Estupinan, Cash and Taylor? Estupinan, reluctantly. Daniel Cullerton says, where did the idea of Clash of the Correspondents come from? Best content from any creator, in my opinion. Surprised other creators haven't tried stealing the idea. Yeah, a few have, and I got told where to go. Clash of the Correspondents came from an idea of getting a correspondent for each club. Originally, they were doing sort of articles and stuff. This is going back 5 years or so and being kind of a presence on Twitter. And then we just wanted to get them more involved. So it was one of them, it just came to me like a light bulb, and I went, this is what I want to do. So once we decided we were going to do podcasts every day of the week, it was like, where do we fill these up? So originally we had obviously the main podcast, we had People's Poll podcast, we had Sky, we had like a game week preview show that we now do on Patreon, we had Tottenham, but I wanted something on a Thursday slot. We couldn't kind of decide what we wanted, and I decided, well, let's invite the correspondents on, get 2 different ones ahead of a game week preview, give them all a chance. I know people are like, why don't you just have Johnny Pringle and Man City on every week, for example? And it's like, no, it's a voice to have them all spread out equally across the season. The scheduling is done within mind, fixture swings and stuff like that. Try and get the guys on who perhaps you would say are less of interest at the right times. These Thursdays will be Wolves and Aston Villa with Bradley Parker and Lee Jackson. Ben M says, morning, going to roll and risk Saliba and Saka, but should I play Archer or Estupinan? Thank you and enjoy today. Good luck, Ben. You too. I would play Stupinan over Archer, to be honest. James Brennan says, hi, James. Have Diaby, Saka, Maddison, Salah and Gordon on wildcard. Who should I move to Sun next week? Can't do Gordon on funds. Cheers. There's a case to say, honestly, Saka to Sun reluctantly for the 2 games and then go back to Saka in 10. Steve says, good morning, no question, just thanks for your streams. Good luck, you too, Steve. Thank you, Chris. Bradley says, morning, James. Who's the best 5.0 and below defender for the next 2 game weeks? The next 2 game weeks only is a case to say James Tarkowski, I think. Luton at home and Bournemouth at home for Everton. Your Botmans come into consideration. Burnley at home, West Ham away. Diogo, maybe, I think it's under that. Crystal Palace at home, Brentford away is not terrible for a set of 2 fixtures. Something like Tim Ream maybe at Fulham. I think the fullbacks, I'd be a bit too concerned that something might get rotated there. Chelsea at home, Sheffield United at home. If it was me, I'd arguably go Tarkowski in that situation. Gareth James says, shout out to Daniel Cullerton as well and MRCX. Thank you for retracting your messages. Gareth James says, hi James, best of luck this week. I'm down to the decision of Saliba, Enzo or Pedro to start. Currently on Saliba, but would you risk one of the other 2? Keep up the great work. Hit the like, guys. Nah, I'd go Saliba, mate. Ollie Harris says, hi James, good luck this week. What are your thoughts on Neto as a differential option this season? Not madly in love, right? The next 4 home games are City, Villa, Newcastle, Tottenham. I'm just not madly in love with that, and I expressed that ahead of the Luton game last week as well. Jonathan Greenwood says, morning Jimbo, thoughts on Sterling to Diaby for free. Don't hate it. I do think there's every chance Raheem Sterling might play as the central forward for Chelsea this week. Whether that overly appeals, I guess it'll be down to interpretation, but yeah, I don't mind it. Nigel Sam says, hi James, what double game week players would you punt on wildcard this week? Also, which of Alvarez or Watkins would you prefer? I think if I was wildcarding, I probably wouldn't be on Watkins. I think I'd probably be Haaland, Alvarez, Morris, and I looked at this for advanced tier patrons on a video I did on Wednesday and looking to manoeuvre 2 different examples that would perhaps move either Morris or Alvarez to Darwin Núñez in a couple of weeks. So Morris would go in if I was wildcarding, and I think I would go one of the Burnley defensive players. Money, no object. I mean, not that it particularly matters. Bayer, but if you need that little extra 0.1, Charlie Taylor. I just think Burnley longer term, the fixtures are pretty good, where as a kind of a 15th choice, I think that's pretty reasonable, pretty much from now ongoing, to be totally honest. So if I was wildcarding now, Morris would go in. I think if you're wildcarding this week, I'd go for him. I wouldn't captain him, I'd go for him. I'd play the double and I'd be looking to move it on fairly quickly. I think, to be honest, next week could probably bench him, subject to how you set up the rest of your team. And then, as I said, perhaps it's move it on and manoeuvre something else, which would get, say, Darwin Núñez. That's how I'd set it up, was with like 8 attackers, make a choice in terms of who to downgrade in 9, and then move Morris up to Núñez. That was the sort of thing that I was maybe thinking. I realise there's a consciousness that Núñez might not start in game week 9 as well, but I'd probably still like to get there if I was setting up now. Tiffy Ferreira says, make some noise for Desi boys. Woo! Harry Scott says, hi James, Sky question here. Would you consider doing Saka to Bowen today, regardless of news, plus chain back to Saka from a Spurs player before they play Sheffield United in a few weeks? I have no West Ham United Villa captain yet. No, but that's easy to pick up on the day as well, Harry. So no, I wouldn't make that move. If it was confirmed that Bukayo Saka was out, and I don't think we'll get any news pre-deadline, but patrons, if you do hear of anything, do let us know. I wouldn't do it, mate. Uros Milicevic says, hi James, Saka to Son from -4. Let's plan to do it next game week. Already did Chilwell to Trippier. Best of luck this game week. So, okay, let's use the example that Saka's out. Fine. Crack on. Do it. You need Son to get an attacking return to make it worthwhile. Saka plays. You need Son to at least score to make it worthwhile, and Saka to blank to no for me, mate. Next week, free. I get it. MRCX is assuming all of them are fit and play equally well this week. Would you rather get out Bruno or Odegaard to get in Maddison for game week 8? Context, Saka is part of the squad. No other Manchester United players. Because of the upcoming fixtures, slight preference to move Odegaard, but I mean, it's a close call. Nigel Sam says, second question, what would your midfield be like on Wildcard, James? Good luck this week. Salah would go in if I was Wildcard. It'd be Salah. I think I would go Salah, Son, Maddison, Mitoma, Diaby. I think if I was Wildcarding now. Dan Stairs says, morning legend, can't decide between Maddison or Bowen on wildcard. Already have Son and James Ward-Prowse. Sold Saka though, which now I'm fearful about. Another great from you, mate. Thanks very much. You'll know the answer now, Dan. I'd go Madders, mate. James Brennan says, hi James, best 4.0 from the double. Thinking Taylor Bayer, which do you think is most nailed? Also Alvarez or Morris on wildcard. I'd still probably rather have Alvarez over Morris, but I get it. As said, if I was on wildcard, probably want to go Morris in. So, yeah, it's fine. Just be concerned if you go like Alvarez, Morris, Haaland, Haaland, Morris and Archer, and you don't leave any money, you may struggle to move Morris to something else, and I don't like that. I would probably go Bayer at the moment. Not for this week specifically. I'd probably prefer a Luton player, arguably. But longer term, Burnley much better, I think. Alex Peary says, morning mate, on a wild card, would you go Bowen or Ward-Prowse? Keep money in the bank for future moves. I would go Bowen, but every other West Ham fan opinion I'm hearing is telling me James Ward-Prowse. That must be said. Callum Odenbelly says, Chelsea man ya terra, Chalea Dildari, Humko bi Patili. Cheers, Callum. FPL Andy says, morning James, how concerned are you about Botman's flag? Would you transfer and share instead? Not concerned, I think you'll play, mate. I've said that. The 5 players I got on yellow flags, I think they'll all play. If I end up with Udogie in the team instead, just end up with Udogie in the team instead. If I end up with 10 players this week, end up with 10 players this week. I'm not fussed. Like, if Share is fine for your future moves and stuff, I still think Share's a better option than Botman, by the way. I said that on Monday's pod, that it will get close enough with value. New investors would have to go, well, I'll go Share. It's a little bit like if you were investing new in Arsenal now, I think you go Gabriel over Saliba. So, yeah, there's a case to go Share anyway. Just check on your future moves. John Cale says, morning James, would you bench boost Flecken, Estupinan, Doku and Udogie? Cheers. No. And to be honest, the context of that's really important behind the 11 players in your team as well, because do you have any concerns over any of them playing? It would be a strong no from me on that. Piri says, benching headache, James, Estupinan or Elliot Anderson? That's an interesting one. I do think Anderson will start, actually. I probably still go with Stupinan, to be honest. Broor Christensen Melanso, what a great name, says, good morning, sir. Saka to Son for free, surely. Yeah, don't mind for free, but as said to the previous question, I wouldn't particularly be considering that for a -4, to tell you the truth. Excuse me. Lexus says, Gareth James first says, who's scoring more points this weekend? The Sheffield United keeper or the US Ryder Cup team? The US Ryder Cup team, mate. Lexus Steeleman says, hi James, opinions on throwing a few differentials this week, then wildcard next week. I currently have a lot of dead weight. Jackson, Baldock, João Pedro and Bayer after this week, and in my opinion, Estupinan. Well, West Ham, I think. West Ham, Everton. If you're wildcarding next week, in 1 week punts, it's probably in there, isn't it? Your Doucourés and Ward-Prowses and Bowens, maybe even Antonio even. Lexus says, would you consider it a sound time to wildcard? I only asked because of the recent edition of City Double Week. What do you mean the recent edition of City Double Week, mate? There's no edition of City Double Week, mate. No. It's likely to be Game Week 20, mate. So, I don't know if you've heard maybe Game Week 10, but it's extremely unlikely to happen, mate. Yeah, it's fine time to wildcard. Like, yeah, it depends on your team, right? All them yellow flags I've got, the 5 players, if they're all red flags, I'd be wildcarding, no doubt about it. So it's circumstantial for your team, right? We're going to do a pod on Tuesday looking at various times to wildcard. There's kind of 2 real times. There's now or there's in about 10 weeks, roughly. So, I don't mind. If it's best for you, wildcard, isn't it? Like, it's kind of deciphering a whole team, right? And what's right for me, I had a discussion with patrons last night on Zoom about why for me it's probably later on, because I think if I wildcard now, I'm not a million miles away from what I would wildcard to. So for me, it's right to hold. But if you're a million miles away from it, then going now would make more sense, right? So it's circumstantial based on what your own teams are. Gavin Richardson says, on a previous pod you were asked about good club players that weren't good for England. It came to me a few days later. Dennis Wise. Andrew Jarvis says, morning James on Wildcard. Have Maddison as Son. Would you sell Maddison for Bowen for this one game week and then might buy Maddison again next week? Or will it be a wasted transfer? Good luck for the game week. Depends on your future moves, Jarvo. So the question would be, right, so if you plan to go Bowen to Maddison next week, how does that impact perhaps your planning for, say, game week 9, game week 10, etc.? And there you'll find your answer. And if you've got no real planning where you're like, well, I wasn't going to do anything anyway, then it's fine. Stewie Bryan says, morning, James. What do you think will be Liverpool's front three against Spurs? It will rotate on the screen, bottom right-hand corner a little bit, but for me, it will be Diaz, Salah, and Nunez. Dan Stairs says, smash a like, everyone. Yes, smash a like, everyone, would be hugely appreciated. There's about 12% of you have hit the like button, which means about 88% of you who haven't. Ben Keane says, hi, James, just wondering where you would go if you still had Chilwell. I'd like a 4.6 or less. I would arguably go to Burnley and move something else in a future week. So you're just outside kind of Cash range, Botman range, Udogi range, Gabriel range. You're just outside of all the ones that I'd be quite interested in from that perspective. So arguably I'd go Burnley now, which prior to Gusto's red card was the original intention for me, was Chilwell to Burnley. Nathan Jacobson says, would you do Saka to Son for free? I don't really want to sell Saka, to tell you the truth. It's not like he can't return against Man City and Chelsea away. He returned in both of those games last season. And I want to say maybe even the season before as well. He certainly scored at Chelsea the season before. So, I don't know. Who's got the better fixture this week? It's Saka, isn't it? I get it. Son, if he does well today, is going to be mad popular in the 7 days ahead. And I think a lot of people will end up captaining him next week. So I get it. Not thinking about the whole of the next week, thinking, oh, Son's going up in value again and all that kind of jazz. Like, I get it. Just be very conscious about what your forward plan is for Bukayo Saka. Thinking particularly about game week 10, especially if you're not intending to go for Mo Salah. Lacer says, reckon Rashford should be given one last run out or bin in for Salah or Son. Feeling goals in your game later. Look, I binned last Sunday. I saw enough last Saturday night. I don't think he's at it. The underlying numbers are not terrible. He could have potentially returned late in the Burnley game and also quite early on in the Brighton game, but I'd seen enough. For me, it gave me an additional captaincy option moving forward in future weeks, and I couldn't see where I'd want to captain Marcus Rashford, to be honest. That was part of the thought process for me. You know, when you sell a player like that, he could still do well, right? There's no doubt about it. Yeah, I'd probably do it, as long as you feel as confident as I do that Son will play today. Lexa Steeleman says, when will you be wildcarding, good sir, and why? Good luck this week. 18ish is probably the idea for me, and as said, we'll probably discuss on a podcast on Tuesday that we're planning. JP says, hi mate, start and why please? Cash and Estupinan, Foden and Saka. Foden over Saka, to be honest, one of the best differential captaincy options this week in my opinion, if you're that way inclined. Whereas Saka, there's a little bit of doubt. Cash should play over Estupinan. They're actually together on the benching dilemmas graphic on page 3, I think. I think Cash plays right midfield today, and that's the deciding influence. I think there's every chance Carlos will come back in. Consa plays right back. The Villa team today, I saw FPL Villain tweet about this and was full in agreement that I think it's probably, arguably, it's between Carlos and Zaniolo for who plays, and that'll obviously impact where Cash plays. Amber Redmond, my friend, says, no question, have an amazing weekend. You too, mate. Tractor boys are doing well, aren't they? MRCX says, thinking about replacing Estupinan with a cheaper defender after the deadline. Who would you get? Everyone drop a like if you haven't already. I would just have a consciousness about Estupinan from game week 10 onwards and whether you want to be without that. And consider, if you don't like looking at the Liverpool Man City fixtures, if there's something else you can change so that you can bench him in those 2 game weeks. But I think coming into next week, to be honest, similar value, Pedro Porro, mate. Sam Routledge says, hi James, no question, just hope you and your family are well. Everyone who's watching, what you're playing at, hit the like. Thank you, Sam. Shout out to Marcin Cook. FPL Red says, what would your defence be on Wildcard? Stupinan, I think, would stay for me. Porro, Gabriel, Cash and Botman. And I'd rotate the 5 of them. Ketan Chopra says, morning, James. Mind you, it could be Bayer instead of one of them if the value's tight. Ketan Chopper says, morning, James. Hope you're doing fine. No question this time. Good luck to you for the game, which cheers, and to you too. Rob Pick, my friend, says, hi, mate. Pick 2 of 4 on Wildcard. Bowen, Ward-Prowse, Diaby, Foden. Thanks and have a great weekend. If it was me, Rob, I would go Diaby and Bowen. Mad Shook says, morning, James. Best striker, not Alvarez, not Morris. Darwin Núñez. Yep. Even with Tottenham and Brighton in the next 2. Colm MCC says, hey, James, bench and Bumo, Maddison or Diaby. Being Bumo for me, mate. Very reluctantly, but it probably would be. Will Shaw says, morning, Jim. How do you think Chilwell's injury affects Gusto prospects when he's back? Well, it's probably more if Reece James is fit, isn't it? Also, I'm guessing at the moment that Cucurella will play left back on Monday night. So also how Cucurella plays in the meantime. But the more likely is when Reece James fit, then it will be Disasai, Silva and Colwell as we'd seen, and James goes back in. So I think Reece James is probably more relatable to to Gusto, than Ben Chilwell. Ben Edinson says, morning, mate. Quick benching question. Bench 1 of his Stupinan, Visser, Morgan, Gibbs, White. I think I'd play the 2 attacking players, I think. That's a tough one. Ois Safdar says, worth doing Chilwell and Saka to Trippier and Son from -4. Again, can we just go Chilwell to Trippier for free and leave the other one be for next week, maybe? Ryan Reed says, morning, James. Going to Wildcard Game Week 10. Wants to do a -4 to bench boost. Right, first thing for me, Ryan, would be whatever 4 players you've got, I'd be sitting there and saying, do you expect it to get 20 points? Gusto to Dalot, Jackson to Morris. Bench would be Turner, Estupinan, Nakamba, Kabore. Do you think it's right to pull the trigger? No. Absolutely not. No, I'd be quite strong on that. Just ask yourself that 4, do you think it gets you 20? Nah, it's a not for me. You'd probably be relying on a Turner or a Estupinan to go nuts, which isn't impossible, but nah, it wouldn't bother, mate. Golazzo says, hey, James, Isak to Núñez. Have a good week. I don't hate that. Tony McBride says, hello, James. Best of luck for Game Week 7. Give a shout out to the Irish FPL contingency heading to Galway for a meet-up today. KU Spurs and GGMU, which I don't know what it stands for, but GGMU, whatever. Yes, for the guys going to the meet, so it's FPLI has organised it, isn't it? It's top bloke. Enjoy that. Is that in Galway? Yes, you have said it's in Galway. Yeah, enjoy yourselves. Owen Jones says, 14k in the world. Hopefully, by the way, we might have our own thing coming up soon. Eyes on the prize. Owen Jones says 14,000 in the world. I love that. 14,000 in the world, which is the big thing that I want you to read out, not my question. Morris Captain, how bad a fall can it be, James? Should I just go Haaland? Me would go Haaland, mate. But you got cojones? You want to keep aiming for the stars? Yeah, just Captain Haaland. I'm not reading your handle out, mate. Like, it's not happening. Gordon Trips or Bowen Share. Bowen Share for me. Owen Jones says Bayer or Stupinan. Bayer. Thomas Nielsen says Chilwell to Cash from -4. Yeah, look, it pays. Possibly not immediately, but Cash is going to be popular next week as well. So there's a little bit of value protection on that. It's fine, yeah. Richard Marshall says, morning, James. Thoughts on going for Dalot over Newcastle defender. Fancy United for the next 3 game weeks. I don't hate it. Someone asked about next 2 game weeks, and I listed Dalot as a potential option, so it's not terrible. There's no reason to think he won't be playing games. He's the only fit fullback they've got this week. Mr. Dyer says, how are you, James? What do you think about Brian and Burmo to... I presume it's Brian and Bomo to Mohamed Salah if you can afford it this week. Yeah, get it done, mate. Andrew Grunt, for free though, I don't know, well, even -4 maybe. Yeah, I would do it. Andrew Gronin says Turner versus Flecken, just back the home team. As in to start, I'm going to presume that obviously is Andrew. Yeah, a little bit of preference there on Turner. I've give Forrest the shade on the shade. That's not the correct word to use, is it? Because if you're shading someone, I've backed Forest, let's say, to win tomorrow, but I think both teams probably score, to be honest. Eshen says, hey James, which of Saka, Bruno, Rashford to Son? If I can get for Bruno, I can't get Maddison for Sterling, Bowen next week, thanks. Look, I'll be totally honest, when early last Sunday, because of the little bit of doubts around him, I arguably wouldn't have done it. It's fair to say. So if you get Son for Bruno, that's going to block you off. So I mean, the answer is Rashford, really. I think. Dan the Fisherman says Nakamba versus Udogie to start. They are the last two on the bench in dilemmas, mate, and I'll go Destiny because there is a minor chance of an attacking return. Ben Edinson says, I've seen a lot of people with wildcards. I'm 1 million away from being able to do. I'm 700,000 overall rank, but I've missed quite a lot of the price changes. Do I need to worry? No, Ben. No, you don't need to worry. Daniel Cullerton says, Sky question, mate. Are you hopping off City assets soon? You went heavy on City, didn't you? Or are you riding it out? So I've kind of already done it, to tell you the truth. So I sold Edison and obviously Rodri with a suspension last week. So I'm only on Haaland, Alvarez and Diaz. And I think they stay for me, mate. And there'll be an intention to get Rodri back, obviously. Frederick Hertz says, cheers, James. Would you rather have Estupinan or Eze as first sub? Best luck with your game week. So I'm going to guess the other one's second sub. Estupinan, to be honest, I'd fancy United for a clean sheet this week. Noel Brennan says, morning, James. Bench Darwin Núñez or Gordon. God, that's rough. I would not want to bench Darwin Núñez. I wouldn't want to bench Gordon either, by the way. Jeez. Wow, that's really tough. I would not want to leave Darwin Núñez out. He's probably banging my head a little bit more there, but I don't know. Is there something else you can leave out there, mate? Safe Band says, hi James, is Mbumo to Gordon a risky move, needing funds? No, that's fine. I think those with Mbumo should begin to consider selling. Patrick Donnelly says, hi James, who would you start at? Matoma, Luis Diaz and Alvarez, thanks. Alvarez, mate. Rough though. Benayu says, hey James, first time I'm on time, I'm gassed. Hello mate. Question, you predicted Tottenham Liverpool 10-3-3, but Salah is 7th on your captaincy table. Surely he'd been involved in the goals. I've captained him. Yeah, but I got Son 8 and I ain't even got Maddison on there at all, mate. So there's the understanding that could be wrong. It's a difficult game to predict, right? Yes, I think there's every chance it's going to be wild, to tell you the truth. If you think that Mo Salah's your best captaincy choice this week and better than Erling Haaland, then be my guest, mate. Raghav says, morning James, Son captain. It's kind of the same answer, isn't it? You doggy style says, play 1, bench 2. Okay, can we just which one to start out of these, right? Saar, Colwell, Archer. Cheers, mate. Love the content. I'd probably start Colwell, you know. That's dull, but I probably would. Twisted only, bench 1 of Burn, Botman, Ward-Prowse, Taylor. Taylor. Chris Church says, morning James, best bench 1 of Saka, Watkins and Mbumo, Maddison, Mitoma. Reluctantly, and Mbumo, mate. Emily Sissoni says, hey James, how would you order a bench of Pinnock, Archer and Udogie? Probably that order. Yura says, hi James, good morning. I have Saliba, Botman, Saka, Maddison. All of them flagged. I've got the same players, mate. On the bench, got Estupinan, João Pedro, similar. 1 transfer available. What should I do? Best of luck. Roll the transfer and wish you luck this week, mate. Alden Björk says, morning James, why do you prefer to start Cash and Diaby over Estupinan and Mitoma? Not over Mitoma, mate. No. Diaby over Mitoma, just. Home. Brighton susceptible against fast players, I think. So that's just Diaby over Mitoma. It's just Cash over Estupinan. I already explained the reasoning for Cash. I think he'll play further forward today. Owen Walsh says, smash those likes. Best of luck all. Yes, everyone smash like. What we on percentage wise now? Bit better. About a third of you have done it, but that means there's 2/3 of you haven't smashed a like. It's free content, guys. Doesn't cost anything. Ben Edinson says, with everything going on, can you see more minutes coming for Garnacho? If anything less, mate. Anthony's returned to the squad. Make of that what you will. Hannibal's had preference recently. Martial scored in midweek. No, not particularly. Peter says, hi James, I have Doku and want Bowen. What's your opinion on the move? Cheers. I don't hate it. I think Doku does start today, but I'm not convinced about it. Yeah, I don't mind it. I think it's one you're going to want to move that on next week anyway, so I don't mind it. Doku's definitely... It was a regrettable buy, I think. It was regrettable because I didn't have the Jack Grealish information. I thought Grealish was going to be out for longer. Because that's what Pep said anyway. So, yeah, he's on the chopping block for me next week. Possibly to Diaby, maybe. Defensive one to Matty Cash. Those are kind of at the front of my mind in terms of moves next week. With Son, Maddison, Udogie in place, for me, it's going to be probably really focused Villa next week, I think. Good job I got Lee Jackson Clash of Correspondence then, isn't it? Who's next? I've skipped. Hens up 03. Hi, James. Zuma or Morris for a 1 week punt? To Morris. Dallas Shaw says, hi, James. Good luck this week. Would you play Edison or Areola? Lee Thompson says, hi James, bench one of Gabriel, Botman or Estupinan. Again, reluctantly. Dragon says, which Luton Burnley defender would you pick on a free hit? Cheers. I would punt Kabore on a free hit, I think. Although, to be honest, I did a free hit draft in midweek again for the Patreon, and I didn't have Kabore because I actually went Kaminsky. I went Kaminsky and Morris from Luton, and I went Amdouni and Bayer from Burnley. But if, obviously, you want a different goalkeeper, then it would be Morris would be the first choice pick. I didn't want double Luton defence. Benny U, Tottenham Liverpool combined 11 says, does Eric Dyer get in? No. Alisson in goal, Trent at right back, Udogie at left back, Van Dijk and Romero. That's tough. Bissouma, Szoboszlai, Maddison, Salah, obviously. The top ones are tough. Diaz and Son, just over Nunes, tough. Fighter Jet says, morning James, would you play Alvarez or Morris? Both. Definitely both. I would bench someone else, mate. I can't think of any circumstance where I wouldn't start those two players this week if I own. If I had to pick one over the other, it would be Morris. Florentine P says, hi James, play one from Mbumo and Sterling. Mbumo. They're both on the bench in dilemmas. Ben Edison, would Edison be top for keepers, choosing between him and Pickford for the draft team? No, I'd go Pickford, I think. Demetrius G, I could understand, if you're on an all-in and you've got, say, Morris up front, that might push you to Edison, I get that. Demetrius G says, Alvarez, Højlund or Darwin on Gameweek 10 wildcard. Alvarez, Højlund or Darwin, Gameweek 10, Nunes, I think, Darwin Nunes, yeah. Mahmood says, morning James, for 1 week punt, Zuma, Cher, Dallo or Tarkovsky, already starting Areola and Trippier. Reluctantly Zuma. Yash says, hi James, good morning, I have to take a -8 for Jackson, Jota and Chilwell this week. Why do you have to? Would you prefer a wildcard instead, save the 8-point hit? I have already Foden, Alvarez, Son, Madders, Haaland from core. Why do you have to take a -8? You don't have to sell Jota right now, do you? Jota will get involved, right? Scored off the bench last week. Jackson, Chilwell, yeah, I get it. What's the rest of your bench? Chilwell's priority 1 to sell, then Jackson, then Jota, I think, in that order. I would not wildcard. If you're sitting here 20 minutes before deadline not knowing whether to wildcard or not, please don't wildcard. Take the -8. Benny, you, not repeat questions, please, mate. It's just holding up other people. CM Punk 2310 says, subbing Udogie for Saka if there's any news that he's benched, not starting. Nah. You really fancy Tottenham for a clean sheet this week? You really fancy him for an attacking return under that circumstance? Adam E, can we get some information on that source if you're watching now? Someone's posted a little bit on Manchester City team news, but I'm very reluctant to... It's not hugely unexpected, but I'm reluctant to share it because I have no idea who that is. MG Beckett says, hi James, if you had to bench one, who would you bench out? Saka, Maddison, Foden, Rashford? With reluctance, Saka. Just on X-Mins, right? I guess Saka. I think Saka plays. Again, surely there's a different solution there. Unless Haaland, Alvarez, Morris is your front three, in which case I get it. You got Salah as well. Have you got any defenders, mate? C Sobs, FPL Line says, no news yet. 10:30 we get news. Is it? Well, I haven't got any news to share at this stage as far as I'm aware. Patrons, on the case, please give us a tag on Slack if we do have any worthwhile news being shared around. Jamie Baker says, morning James, morning everyone. Best midfielder under 8 million for the next 3 weeks. Diaby, Morgan, Gibbs, White, Bowen. Remember to like the stream, everyone. Thank you, Jamie. Diaby, it just progressively gets better for him, mate. Yusuf says, Archer to Morris and bench Saka or Saka to Son. Wildcard 8, 9, 10. So you don't know which week yet. Okay. Sunny. JD says, hi James, which combo gets more points this week in your opinion? Morris and Porro, Sterling and Trippier, Morris and any defender 6.5 or under from -4. The trips option, mate. Atala says, why is everybody ignoring Watkins? Don't know, mate. He's in my team. Nathan Jacobson says, hi James, would you do Saka's Son in Sky? No. Chris Bradley, unless you're really hammered for captaincy next week, I'd still be considering alternatives. Chris Bradley says, just noticed Eze's not in your predicted Palace 11. Have I missed something? Eze's not in my predicted Palace 11. No, you haven't missed something. Let me clarify why that might be. Because I'll be honest, if that's the case, that's an error. They're at Manchester United, aren't they? Put it on the screen. Yes, it's an error. But Edouard is injured, isn't he? Apologies. That is an error. Let me see if I can get that fixed. Sorry, well spotted. Yeah, that's absolutely an error. So it should definitely be... Eze's injured, mate. So I don't know why I've ended up doing that. It is absolutely an error. We'll see if we can get that fixed for you. Which means me fighting about with graphics. But I should be able to do it for you, I think. He says... No, that's not worked. Try something else, James. It might not update while I'm live, but it should do, in all honesty. Sorry, terrible content, but I can't stand having something up there that's wrong. No, it's not going to update, unfortunately. It may do. But yeah, no, Edouard's injured. It's not going to play. So well spotted. Sorry, it is completely an error. Apologies. Right, where am I? Questions, James. Questions. That's what you want. Questions. That's what the people want. They want you to answer questions. MRCX says, cheers for the stream. Always nice to have a talk. You're welcome. Nathan Jacobson says, hi James, we start Pedro Porro. Stupinan. John Lee says, start 2 of Botman, Cash, Saka. Thanks. Saka and Botman. FPL Meerkat, good morning James. Would you start Cash or Bayer this week? Would you start Cash or Bayer this week? That feels like a tough one. Refers to benching dilemmas. Bayer I've got listed, so there you go. There's the answer. Bayer. Emmanuel Topper, hey James, love your content and wildcard. Gordon and Darwin and Morris or Maddison and Diaby and Archer. That's not making... Oh, okay. It's 2 different pairs of trios. Yeah, but you've got one player there who's not going to play, obviously, for you regularly. Archer, or is that what you intend to use Morris for? Prefer the Maddison Diaby route. Adam says, Onana or Kaminsky. To start this week, you played a doubler. But I wouldn't want Kaminsky beyond this week. Tom Spain says, hi James, love the show. Who would you bench out of Vissa, Foden or Diaby? Vissa, reluctantly. FPL Meerkat, you're welcome, mate. I see that. Tommy Gonzo and Bomo to Diaby for free. Don't hate that. Mukti Senna says, what's your suggestion for those who've activated Wildcard? Pick 15 good players, mate. Francis Logan says, thoughts on Hudson-Odoi of Forest. Hope you enjoy Ange Ball. Hell. No, a no for me. Natter Football said, good day, James. Which one of Sterling, Saka, Maddison, Odegaard would you bench this week? Sterling reluctantly. Andrew Peake says, Porro over Doggy on Wildcard. Yes, I would do that. Colin Con, I don't know what that means, but we think the words coming out from FPL newsletter confirming Alvarez and Foden that start for Manchester City. There is some speculation going around that Gvardiol might not, but I'm trying to get that confirmed in terms of sources because I'm not too happy with the source that's knocking about at the moment. Dragos B says, morning James, Chilwell to Trippier or Zuma from -4 at trips, as long as it doesn't affect your future transfers. Same message as last week. If you go Trippier and you're intending to go Salah and that stops you, then you have to consider that. Alex Mann says, for Sky, who would you bring in for tomorrow out of Gibbs White and Bumo, or a Forest Brentford defender, or skip Saka on the chop block? Not go Awoniyi, mate. I'm going to guess you got 3 forwards you don't want to move. That's the only thing I can think. Otherwise, for me, Awoniyi. And Bumo on pens, probably, but not in love with that. You could go and Bumo to 3 games, sell after Burnley, and then move that into Diaby. That's probably what I'd do in that situation. Pushkar says, how do you like a bench boost of Kabore, Morris, Stupinan and Turner? Say bench boost for later. Is there a killer double game week? Pushkar is really relevant on who your 11 are as well, mate. Like, how secure are you that they're all going to play? That's relevant. It looks better having Morris a part of it, but Morris for me would go into all starting 11s this week. So who drops to the bench instead? Genuinely, someone else drops to the bench instead. Make that choice. Who's your weakest player with a single game week from your attackers? Then look at it and make a decision. But for me, it would probably be no, mate. John Solly says, morning James, would you start Johnson over Turner if you have Mbumo and no United attack? Possibly, but I can't really visualise a clean sheet for Palace this week, whereas I think it's possible for Forest. 11 Iron Ross, but to be honest, I maybe would. It's close enough. 11 Iron Ross Kenny. Oh, really? Is that what it means? GGTH, mate. Attilar says, why are we ignoring Watkins? I told you 10 minutes ago, mate. He's in my team. FPL Tell says, morning James, great content. Play Botman or Cash. Cheers. Another good game week. It's Botman, mate. Saviour in the Rye. Bench 1 is Stupinan, Cash or Elliot Anderson. Anderson reluctantly. Tommy Moody, as a Brentford fan, I cannot see why everyone's transferring out on Boomer. Our main man this season, we've got Forest and Burnley in our next 3. Seems crazy to me to sell. Patrick Lawson says, Eze or Mbumo to Diaby. Eze or Mbumo to Diaby or Bowen, JWP worth a hit. I mean, here's the interesting thing. Mbumo's got a really good fixture this week. Eze's got a really good fixture next week. So I would probably be looking at Eze to Diaby for free next week, Patrick. I'd be thinking. For a hit, I'm not convinced. Brundle Fly says TAA or Saliba have both. What to start? Start Trent, mate. Lewis Bowman says, hi James, play Sanchez versus Fulham, Areola versus Sheffield United. Areola, mate. Thank you, Colin Con. So we're now being told Foden, Alvarez, Diaz, Haaland have all got the thumbs up that for Manchester City. That shouldn't come as any surprise to anyone. Thank you for that, Colin Con. Okay, yeah, got it. I see your previous one as well. Yeah, cheers, mate. Thank you. Some speculation as well going around that Pellistri starts for Manchester United today in the 3 o'clock against Crystal Palace. Again, not totally sure on the source of that, but that's being speculated at the moment. Right, who's next? Fraser Love plays Sterling on Gvardiol. Well, it's going to be Sterling at the moment, isn't it? David says, morning James, should I bring in Trippier and Morris or Wilson and Kabore? Trippier and Morris or Wilson and Kabore, Trippier. Jojo says, hi James, mate. Any early teamers? Villa, Brighton, confident Stupid and Mitoma start, but Deserby roulette is real. It is, yeah. Look, Mitoma didn't start last week and also got taken off relatively early on Wednesday, so no real concern. His Stupidan's just a beast, mate. I would expect them both to play. They don't play, obviously, in Europe till Thursday. Cosmos says, hi James, I have Archer and a Stupidan to cover for Saka and Botman. I have Archer and a Stupidan to cover for Saka and Botman if needed. My question is, would you do Saka to Son for -4? No, it's free next week, mate. Mark Stewart says, morning, James. Thanks for the info today. Would you do Son for Rashford for -4? Just wait until next week. Look, essentially, that's what I did last Sunday. In all honesty, if I was in that position right now, I probably wouldn't have done it. For free, yes, probably. From -4 at this stage, with the way the week's evolved in terms of little bits of concerns about his fitness, no. And I don't have any doubt that he plays, by the way, but it would probably be a no. Mark Stewart says, morning James, thanks for the info. That's what it's just done. FPL Sky Blues just sorted my differential team. Trent is 8.1 owned, so gone there. Yeah, we think we can go there next week, mate. GP says, on a free hit this week, which doublers would you get? Tempted by the defenders, but your predictions suggest that might not be a good idea. As said, if I was free hitting this week, I'd be Kaminsky, Bayer, Amdouni and Morris. Warren Collard says, play Onana or Areola. Got both. Play Onana or Areola. Got both. Areola. LJH67 says, morning James, thanks for your guidance so far this season. Just tuned in. Captain Morris or Haaland? It's Haaland for me, mate. Ollie Smith says, morning James, Ward-Prowse or Bowen on a 1 week punt. For me, Bowen. Ceiling is higher. FPL Sky Blues says, would you keep Trafford for the double or go to Pickford or Johnson? Nah, keep, mate. Joel 17 Water says, people are sleeping on Onana now. United midfield is back. Yeah, but what about the defence? Andrew Sands says, race back from getting ingredients for sweet potato and peanut curry. Missed anything? Not really, mate. Benny Hughes says, would you take Ivan Toney in your squad in January? If so, would he walk straight into the starting 11? Or would he share minutes with Son, considering how much better Son has been playing through the middle? No, Toney walks into nearly every team in this league. Bar probably Manchester City. Probably nearly every other team he goes in as the central forward, in my opinion. So, yeah, he would go in, mate. Would I take him? Yeah, of course. Mr. 4R514N, Saka to Odegaard. No. Or Bowen and Visser to Morris for -4. Sorry. Saka to Odegaard or Bowen and Visser to Morris for a -4. Don't hate the going Bowen and Morris, but I'm really reluctant to sell Saka. I can't stress that enough. Andrew Sands says, Alvarez over Diaby, Morgan, Gibbs, White, Bruno, Rashford, Bowen. Yeah, comfortably. Laser says, Kabore, Cash or Estupinan. You find them all on the bench in dilemmas, mate. Have a look. Prashan says, Areola, Turner, Estu, Burn, Trips, Cash, Kabore, Salah. I can't bother to read your old team, mate, but very best of luck with your wild card. It's your wild card. Make it your own, mate. Good luck. Gavin Richardson says, any other questions section? If for some unknown reason you had to dispose of a body, which method makes more sense for you? Iron Smelling Salt Works, Terminator, or a pig farm, some Guy Ritchie film? Terminator route. Kofkin says, hi James, I have Botman, Saka, Son and Maddison. Should I be worried and do I need to make a transfer? If so, who do I take off and who do I bring in? I've got all of them, mate. I've got Saliba as well. Look at my team. I'm not worried, mate. Serban Lucas says, hi James, who to bench? And Mbumo, Diaz, Bruno, Madison, Alvarez, Saka. Reluctantly in Mbumo. Zladja says, would you do Doco on Mbumo for Gordon? How does it impact future moves? If it impacts in future moves positively, then yes. Stu M says, great stream, James. Smash that like, folks. 6 out of 10 of your captaincy picks in my team. Ooh. Bound to have a bad week then, aren't you? You know how it works, eh? Yash says, Foden, Alvarez, Wilson, Botman, Saka, Saliba, all start. Wow, amazing. Thanks for the intel, which provides absolutely no shocks. Got about 50% of you smashed the like now. It's getting better. Where's the other 50% of you? We are circa 6 minutes from deadline, guys. Yeah, so that's FPL Newsletters confirmed that Pellistri is going to start for Manchester United, and they've been very, very reliable, so there's no reason to think that information is incorrect at all. So I would presume that's back in for Hannibal. Would be my guess on that. Therefore, just had an urge to check my own FPL team actually, make sure everything's okay. Oh look, those 5 yellow flags are still there. That's good. Oh, what happened to me draft? I never looked at my draft team. Mind you, I completely forgot to look at Gaffer this week. Lucas Perez is currently playing bench boost with Turner, Alderkill, Archer and Estupinan. Good luck. Banazar says, thank you, James. Awesome stream as always. Rashford to Son or Mbumo to Ward-Prowse. Roll. Probably roll, I would say. Ah, yes, I did manage to pick up Abdoulaye Doucouré. Who should we stick him in for? Okay. It's no good that he was sitting third on my bench. Glad I checked that. Tropical says, play Zinchenko or Estupinan. Zinchenko. Richie Sherwood, Areola or Edison. Areola. Safe bans. Anyone think Dean is being slept on? Depends on his love life, mate. Pushkar says, adding up to my should I bench boost question, this is a list of my weak single game week players. I would have to bench 3 of them. Estupinan, Cash, Saliba, Sterling, Bruno and Turner. Is the bench boost now worth it? It's ages ago, Pushkar. I can't actually remember. But Morris was one of them, wasn't it? Would go in for probably, if it were me, Estupinan. No, mate. For me, it's no. Callum Neal says Estupinan or Bell. I played a doubler. Aman says bench 1, Botman, Cash, Estupinan, Madison. I feel like I've said Estupinan quite a lot, and yet I'm playing it myself. It's the deviation tactics to make everyone else not get the points that I want. I'm not expecting anything. Ian from Melbourne says, let's hit that like button, guys. Good luck for the game week. Thanks for the stream. Top class as always up the Shrimpers. Which Southend? Well, Scunthorpe United coming up Money in Football and Patreon this week as well. God, there's some weird shit happening there. Looking forward to doing that one and taking a deeper dive into an absolute madness that's happening there. Pushkar says 431 watching, 260 likes. Doesn't add up. It's free, guys. Hit the likes. Thank you, Pushkar. Tom Jansen says Jackson to Alvarez or Watkins or roll means would bench Estupinan. Look, Watkins more expensive again. How does that affect your future plans? But I think Watkins is going to be a super differential over this period. I've been consistent every weekend. I'm not selling. Tom Spain says, any Saka news? Nothing that I can share at this moment, unfortunately. No. There is no insight that I've got on Arsenal or Villa or Brighton. Is obviously the early kickoff. Nothing of information. But it's 10:57, so someone's got something, haven't they? John Jansen says, that's what I've done. Onion Hot 1 says, morning, James. In Sky, Sterling and Chilwell for Ward-Prowse and either Cash or Porro. Leaving Sanchez for Monday coverage and enough surplus to move Awoniyi onto Bowen after the Luton game. Jesus, mate, there's a lot going on now. No, you don't want to be moving. With Chilwell, you can move, obviously, yeah. Not keen on Cash or Porro as Sky assets. Not keen on either. Sanchez for Monday coverage, yeah, fine. Awoniyi up to Bowen afterwards. I'm not keen on Cash or Porro for Sky, mate, to be honest. Ridgers Avdo says, worth going -4 to get rid of Chilwell. Yes. Torfig says, hi, James, who is the best right back and left back for England right now? Well, Carl Walker's got the shirt, isn't he? Luke Shaw when fit. Ben Chilwell when fit. Rico Henry when fit. I mean, at the moment, it's going to be Trips at left back, isn't it? Emmanuel Topo says, bench Darwin or Diaby. Diaby, reluctantly. Alex LB says, Ferguson or Mbumo to bench or play. Play Mbumo. Ragaf says, Vardy or Estupinan start. Smash the like button, folks. Come on. There is speculation that Gvardiol might not start. It's only speculation at this stage. Prashan says, Burn, Estupinan, Kabore, Cash, play 2. Kabore and Burn. 9Tank7 says, would you take winning FPL but never finish in top 10 million in every season after you win? Yeah, because I might win and just quit, mate. Michael Harlan says, hi, James. Still Rice to Bayer on Sky today. Cheers. Not if we think Declan Rice is going to start. No, Tuesday. So Tuesday, if we think Rice is going to start and we think he's potentially travelled, it's a minute the deadline, guys. That means absolutely get those teams locked in and wait for the yellow flags to disappear. Jordan Murphy says, would you play Cole Palmer with Diaby this week? Diaby. MRCX says, good luck, everyone. We are on a countdown for deadline, guys. That's all your questions covered. Smashing it. If anyone wants to be quick, but I think we may have just ticked over time. We have 11 a.m. That is deadline. Good luck, everyone. Enjoy double game week 7, which, remember, if you have a good day today, there's still quite a long way to go. Although most of the teams are obviously playing today, 16 of them in all. Right, if anyone's got any non-FPL questions, throw them in the chat, and I'll happily get them covered over the next 15 minutes or so. If you came just for the FPL conversation, smash a like, hit the sub button, have a great weekend. Content next week coming up. Monday, me and Suj will be doing the game week review. We'll return to Monday this week. Tuesday, we'll probably cover off Fulham Chelsea a little bit, and then we're going to have a discussion about wildcard options and when to do it, rather than which players, but just look at kind of a now versus a December period. Wednesday, Sky Fantasy Football. Thursday's Clash of Correspondence is Wolves versus Aston Villa with Bradley Parker and Lee Jackson. Ask James will return on Friday. Our Patreon podcast this week, if you want to support the show, they're available from Intermediate Plus tier and above. Q&A Monday. Tuesday, UCL Fantasy. Wednesday, Tottenham. Thursday, Money in Football on Scunthorpe United. And next Friday will be our Game Week 8 preview podcast. If you want to support the show, it's www.patreon.com/planetfpl. But you can support the show from as little as £3 per month if you don't want any additional content, because I already provide shitloads of it. One of the things you do get at basic tier level is no adverts on the YouTube videos. That's the sell. Right, let's have a look at who's got non-FPL questions coming in. Stick Sand says, James, how you doing, pal? Yeah, I'm good, mate. Yeah, pretty good. Really looking forward to the game tonight. There's a nervousness about it, as there should be for a fixture like that, but also a big anticipation. So, yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. No complaints. Had a good week. Harry's doing well in school. All good, mate. Pushcar says, cheers, everyone. Very interesting game week this. Yash says, locked in. Dance, James. Just dance and it'll be okay. Do. Michael says, okay. Thanks, James. No problem. MRCX's favourite club aside from Spurs, Tottenham Hotspur Ladies. Michael Harland says, yeah, was thinking we could put 2-3-4 past Burnley today. Could be a minus for Bayer. Thomas Powell says, hey James, what kind of manager would be 4-4-2, low block and counter, or Pep style positional play? I just want to be Ange, mate. I just want to be Ange now. So yeah, I mean, if I'd suddenly got a job tomorrow, yeah, I would absolutely be trying to copy what Ange is doing. But it's also dependent on what you've got in terms of personnel, right? If you've got slow defenders, like, it can't work. James Brennan says, Botman starts, Heisenberg said. Surprise to absolutely nobody. Fucking panic these flags have caused this week, honestly. Just chill. Yash says, James, talk to us about how you think the Spurs-Liverpool game will play out. So excited as a neutral. Great midfield battles and attacks too. Yeah, I think we'll have more of the ball. But that's also very subject to game state. So, like, if we're winning, that might not be the case. Liverpool have obviously been starting games quite slowly and been getting better. But it's also a case to say, to a lesser extent, that's also been happening with Tottenham as well. So it could build to be an incredible second half, or it could be that the two teams throw punches at each other in the first half and the second half calms down. It's really difficult to say. Like, either side could win. There's no doubt about that. I've predicted a high scoring draw. My instinct, if you had to pressure me and say, right, there's no draw, someone's got to win, who you backing? As long as my boys are fit, I'd give us a slight edge, I think, actually. But it should be a great game. There's a few interesting nuances. So I think Udogie Salah is going to obviously be a brilliant battle to watch. Diaz can obviously hurt Porro, but Porro's getting much better. Nunes against our centre-backs, if Liverpool decide to go direct on occasion, should be quite interesting. I fancy our guys should do okay again. What do Liverpool do to try and get round Bissouma? Which also adds into, I probably should have said it does add into the idea that Gakpo could start, but I do think Núñez will play. Maddison and Szoboszlai will end up in similar positions at certain stages of the game. I imagine that would be quite interesting. Watch for Curtis Jones to potentially pull onto the left flank, which will allow Diaz, if he plays in that position, to drift into half space positions that will give perhaps Sarr some problems. Sonny, it's a good fixture for him. I presume Manor Solomon will play left wing for us, and I would imagine Trent will play for Liverpool, and Solomon will try and take him on, I should imagine. Expect Kulusevski to stay quite high, because principally I imagine Robertson to stay quite deep. There's a number of kind of individual battles which are really, really interesting and fascinating. And it should genuinely, I've said this all week, like, if you got plans at 5:30 today, rearrange them, because it could be one of the best games of the season. Saviour in I can't see how it'd be a bad game. I just can't. Saviour in the Rice says, thanks James, hope you cap Clark in Gaffer. I don't even own him, mate. I missed the deadline, mate. Lucas Perez says, hello from Paris, who do you think is winning the Champions League in a world where Man City doesn't exist? Well, they do. I think Arsenal have got a great chance. And I hate that. There you go. James Brennan says, do you play Super League Fantasy? No. Tom Spain says, what's your thoughts about footballers playing too many matches? Well, yeah, they are. There's no doubt about it. They are playing too many matches. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in the next few years there's a grouping together and this strike. I wouldn't be surprised. Like across all leagues or something. Say all of the top leagues or something. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point that becomes something where the players just feel a little bit too helpless about it. And I think they'd get a lot of support on that actually from the average punter. So yeah, they are playing too much football. Absolutely. Pushcar says, did you see Ange getting asked the FPL question on Maddison? Yes, I did. Ange is a proper Aussie bloke, that I know. How has he changed your Spurs experience from last season? How long you got, mate? I suggest you get on Patreon and start listening to Tottenham on Wednesdays, mate. Brilliant. It's already achieved. The goal from this season is to make me enjoy football again. It's already achieved. Keith Rowley says, morning James, good luck this week, both FPL and Spurs. You too, Keith. Gavin Richardson says, if you had to, absolutely had to, my goodness, choose to be reincarnated as either Donald Trump or Tory Lane, who had an affair with Trump, who would you reluctantly choose? Trump. Moving on. Adam Clark says, hey James, do you think the number 10 still exists, or do they just have different responsibilities now? Yeah, it still exists in certain teams. So an example would be if Forest picked the team that I've predicted this week, then I think, for example, there's every chance that Morgan Gibbs-White will play as an out-and-out 10. I would say that's a possibility, for example. I'm really annoyed that that's not updated with Eze. Maybe if we take it off, it might help. Whereas if you take, say, Maddison and Odegaard, play as 10s, right? Odegaard plays as a kind of right-sided hybrid 8-10. Maddison plays the same role just to the left for Tottenham. So, yeah, it's becoming fewer and fewer. There's defensive responsibility, and you've got so many players playing multiple roles within games now that the kind of stationary number 10 is less, let's say, these days. Even like when you had Ericsson as a 10 at Tottenham, didn't really play it. I guess like an Ozil did, but your days of your Bergkamps and your Zolas and these sort of players, there's just not so many of them is there now, because they have different responsibilities. Like if you put an Odegaard or a Maddison, even 10 years ago, they just play as a 10, but it's different now. Perles Pence says, hi James, what's the name of that great new left back you've got? Oh, what a dance with Utaki. Ragav says, what's wrong with Spurs, honestly, if you know what I mean? Why can we expect to see the Spursy back plus Ange is annoyably likeable? Do you think they can change for the title if they keep going? No, Like, we're in a world with Manchester City, mate. This team's way too experienced. And by the way, it could, as soon as we get any injury to Vicario, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogi, Bissouma or Maddison, the whole shit will probably implode and we'll have bad results. So those 6. Well, what about Son? What about Porro? It's not that they're not important players. It's just it's about the whole build-up. And Emerson is not a terrible understudy to Porro. Whereas we lose any of the others, the replacement is just not up to standard. So we'd have to keep players fit. Look, if the players do stay fit and with the 1 game a week, I imagine we'll continue to do well in terms of title. No, don't be silly, mate. Toby Evanson says, "Hi James, who concedes first, you or us this evening?" I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 1-1 after like 5 minutes, mate. I'll back you to score first. Michael Harlan says, "Hard question. Who's more pivotal for you this season, Bissouma or Maddison? Sorry." It's probably Bissouma, because if Lo Celso's fit, then that's okay. So it's less of a problem. Further down the line, if Bentancur stands in for Bissouma, Højbjerg can also do the role as well. He's probably, arguably, it's the defensive players that are the most important, arguably. But Maddison's so integral in terms of the creative. Bissouma's so integral in terms of being press resistant and being able to carry and pass through lines for Tottenham. Really difficult to say. Really difficult to say. I would say on the moment, Bissouma, but we can almost maybe ill afford to lose Maddison a little bit more. That doesn't answer your question, does it? It's really difficult to say. MRCX says, "How did you get into analysing games?" Well, through this, I suppose, probably. But I'd always taken an interest from it. I've sat up a tier at all Tottenham home games since I was 6 years old, so I've always had a high perspective of games. So really, even early on, even when I was like 10, 11, I had interest in speaking to people about tactics and stuff and explaining to other kids, and I'm a bit geeky like that. But it's really come on, I think, over the last 5-6 years, I think. And it's also helped that Tottenham have been shit for 3-4 years, so I enjoyed analysing other teams and stuff. And whereas I'm less interested in doing it now because I just want to watch Tottenham. N says, "Start Saka and Bumo." Your deadline's gone, mate. Jonathan Aves says, "I have my mum's birthday tonight. Should I reschedule?" Yeah. Yeah, tell your mum you see her for Sunday dinner tomorrow, mate. Yash says, "Will Sonny send Van Dijk to buy a hot dog tonight? At least one." Hope so. Callum says, "Do you know Kendra Sunderland?" No. Should I? Birth Media says, "Hi James, thoughts on Callum Wilson and Antonio having a podcast as current players? It's really funny, I must say. You think it could run into some issues?" I haven't listened to it. I think they're both likeable chaps. I probably very much regret their Richarlison comments, which I'm surprised people haven't pulled back up on from a couple of months. But yeah, they're both likeable blokes and stuff. So I don't really have much time to listen to other content, I'm afraid. GP says, "Missed the deadline on my free hit." That's amazeballs, mate. Yash says, "Angie's such a vibe, man. I'm a Chelsea fan, but Spurs are quickly becoming a team that I could back as a neutral. Where do you currently rate Ange among Pep, Klopp, Mourinho, Ancelotti, Tuchel? Well, in terms of how good he is, he's behind all of them. It's new at this stage, right? It's, 6 games? 6 games. There's no... You can make... you can begin to form a perception and opinion, but six games in a top league is no time to be putting him in the conversation with the other people that you've mentioned, and that even includes Mourinho. Emmanuel Topo says, "Hey James, would you choose to reincarnate as a slime in a magical world where you are one of the boss of the world, or have Spurs win the league in this world?" What do you think, mate? What do you think I might choose from those 2 options? I wonder. Yash says, "Add De Zerbi to it too." Yeah. Toby Evanson says, "Who do you think is the best signing outside of Spurs this season?" Dominic Szoboszlai. Outstanding. Yeah, he's absolutely terrific. In a perverse way, I'm quite looking forward to watching him today. He's top draw. Outstanding signing. Really, really good. Really good. Shantanu said, could Trent and... I'm not doing for FPL now, mate. Just give it a deadline's gone. I'm fucking watch some football, mate. Good luck. MRCX says, speaking about Højbjerg and his impact as a sub, his ability to calm games down, how do you feel about Juventus reportedly wanting to buy him in January? Well, I think Tottenham were looking at alternatives if Højbjerg went, right? I think Tottenham really would have made a move for Conor Gallagher as a different player. That might be something Tottenham revisit in January, particularly if Chelsea are in a really bad league position. Could be something. They're very different players. Yeah, look, he's not first choice. Where the team wants to go, it's a little bit like selling Davinson Sanchez, right? Selling Davinson Sanchez left Tottenham really light at the centre-back position. But it's like, look, where we're progressing here, he's not going to be a part of this. And where we're progressing, I think Højbjerg's done really well when he's come on in games, by the way. It's amazing that people can look better when they've got a manager who lets them express themselves. But longer term, he's not going to be a part of this. So if Tottenham get a valuation that's right for him, let him go. Let him go. Build something. Stop, well, this is a problem. Build something. Set out your proper targets and think longer term. Michael says, yeah, sorry, mate. Had to get you thinking even at this time on a Saturday. That's all right, mate. You're allowed. Emmanuel says, the slime question above was a plot for an anime. Honestly, though, I know you don't like to admit it, but Spurs feel the closest to win the league in a long time. 6 games, kids. 6 games. 6 games. The fixtures have been quite kind. You know, the first, even if you take all the games we've had, right, in isolation. So look, the 10 points away from 8 points away from home's pretty good. Brentford away. Brentford haven't won a home game yet this season. They've only won once. Bournemouth away, you'd expect to win. Burnley away, you'd expect to win. Arsenal obviously really tough, but even last week, certain circumstances fell into our lap, like Martinelli and Trossard being unavailable, Declan Rice going off injured. The home games, we caught Manchester United at a really good time, and the reality is in minute 97 we were losing to Sheffield United. This team, I keep telling you, is going to have moments where it surprises for the wrong reason. And you go, oh, I didn't think Tottenham would get beat at Palace. They've got murdered there. At some point, something like that is going to happen. It's a very inexperienced team. It will make errors. It will make mistakes. It doesn't have a deep squad. So the idea of talking about titles and stuff like that now, no. Just let me enjoy this. I don't even want to be thinking about top 4 or anything. Just let me enjoy the football. And if I keep enjoying it, all the things will come naturally. Toby says, who do you prefer streaming with, Suj or Clayton? Sorry, I completely misunderstood the question, I think. I read it as like streaming illegally football matches. Who do I prefer like podding with? Suj. It's no offence to Clayton, but I've been doing it with Suj for 5 odd years, but I think Clayton's a great addition to the team. Suj is taking a holiday in a couple of weeks, so you'll be seeing a lot of Clayton on the podcast and stuff, and he's brilliant, but he's fucking Arsenal as well, right? God. Perlo's Pen says, just seen it looks like Richarlison is starting. Where will he play? Well, probably up front and Son on the left. I would guess. Yeah. Lewis Hawkins says, morning, James. Cheers for all the content as usual. Oh, look, here he comes. Hello, boss. You are live on the Deadline stream.
I just ran to say thank you for choosing me over Clayton as the person you prefer to pod with.
Yeah, guess what as well? Clayton don't pay my wages.
Oh, yeah, fair play. I didn't listen to the end of that comment, but I just thought I'd show appreciation and love.
Cheers, mate. Should we talk about salary on Monday, yeah?
Yeah. We can do that on Monday. Have that meeting with Clayton. I bought Botman.
For?
Chilwell.
Yeah, standard,
and, so boring. I nearly bought Zuma, but I looked at the upcoming weeks and I think I'm going to end up playing Botman more than I would the Zuma.
Yeah, plus Botman doesn't kick cats, so...
Well, yeah. I'm sure he doesn't kick them anymore. I think he's learned his lesson.
Oh, okay. Let's hope so, yeah?
Let's see what happens. Enjoy.
All right, lots of love, boss. Have a good weekend.
Hope you enjoyed the stream.
Ciao, bye. Good job I said nice things, isn't it? Lewis Hawkins, morning James, cheers for the content as usual. I'm moving to London for work soon. Any advice on what areas to look at? Yeah, somewhere outside London. So I just got adding to. I'll come back to that. Just adding to the Richarlison point. There was a suggestion that it's Richarlison for Johnson. So could be Richarlison left, could be Son left. My take on that would be Richarlison would play through the middle, and we think Maddison's fine to play as well. Jamie Donnelly, by the way, we think he's going to be a sub for Tottenham today. Right, Lewis, where are you looking from? I guess around here, Enfield's fine, mate. Emmanuel Topo says, okay then, would you say... There's postcodes in Enfield you don't want, though. Emmanuel Topo says, okay then, would you say if you're performing same level, say, by Gameweek 29, would you say it's possible then? What, the same level being, over a 6-game period being 4 points behind Manchester City? You're 4 points behind Manchester City. So if I times that by 5, then we're 20 points behind Manchester City. Now, if we maintain what we're doing, we'll be in contention for top 4. Of course, absolutely. We're ahead of 2 points per game. In fact, if we can continue to run at this run rate, I'd be extremely confident we'd finish top 4. So, Ragav says, I think everyone here is not used to Spurs being like this. So many questions. You were allowed to dream, Jimbo, as Ange said a couple of weeks back. Yeah, and the only thing I'm dreaming about right now is winning today. I really don't want to get ahead of myself. For too many years, don't feel sorry for me, right? I've been very lucky as a Tottenham fan. But too many years of boring shit, right? I just want to enjoy the football right now and not think about longer term. And stop thinking about, we got to be this year. We got to be this in 2 years. Just, enjoy this, right? Because football changes too quickly, right? And we might, like I said, someone asked earlier about Bissouma and Maddison. Imagine Maddison could have easily done his ACL last week, right? Imagine suddenly you take Bissouma and Maddison out of that team. It's not doing anything, is it? Let's be honest, right? It will continue to play well. It will do all right. It will be enjoyable. But in the key moments, it probably is going to really struggle to win important football matches, right? Onion Heart 1 says, sorry for the convoluted question earlier. Basically, the best defender option for up to 7.8 in Sky, if not Porro or Cash. Right. If you're going down that route, honestly, Tottenham, for Sky, rather you bought Romero. I think you'll fall into your price bracket. That's not going to make sense to the FPL listeners, but you don't need to worry about it. But I'd prefer you went Romero in Sky. For Villa, it would probably be that. Also, Jordan Bayer Tuesday 6.6, by the way, if you're not on that, and then spend the money somewhere else. MCRX says, James, Defo deserve a raise. Yeah. FPL Sky Blue says, so all in is in London, August bank holiday next year. Game and Poker Night 2.0. It's a maybe, mate. It's a maybe. Depends if anyone wants to buy me a ticket for All In, like my good friend Callum Mates did. FPL Spartan says, hi James, in Sky, would you consider a Tottenham defender in the next few game weeks? If so, how does Van der Ven compare with Romero? I think you just got your answer, mate. Both reasonable, but would prefer Romero. Connell Hooley says, as a Newcastle fan, I can relate to wanting to just enjoy your team play. I felt the same last year when everyone was asking if we could get into top 4, particularly at the start of the season. It's so early, isn't it? MRCX says, I feel you, James, for the first time in a while. I'm really enjoying watching us again and getting excited for games, and that's all I want to do for now. Enjoy our football, and I want you all to enjoy your weekend. We'll end the stream there. Will Shaw says, how many times do you watch Spurs games back? Does win, loss, draw make a difference? To be honest, not as much as I used to. Purely because I find for the podcast it's more important. I spend free time watching other games, to be totally honest. So, tonight, with the wife away, I will record whatever Sky shows their game of the day after Tottenham Liverpool, and I will watch that back tonight and try and get on all the highlights and stuff. So I'll watch as much as I can of the other games, and then if there's more time, yeah, sure, I'll go back and watch it. But I haven't rewatched any of... Actually, that's not true. I did rewatch the Burnley game, but that's because I did it for our Talking Tactics for advanced tier patrons, which I didn't do this week, but I will bring back this week. I was just a bit concerned with times this week with Harry, who is going full-time in school from Monday. I might do a bit on Arsenal's press, actually, because I was very impressed with the way they pressed us last week. Right, MRCX says, have a nice everyone. See you soon. Yash is logging off now. James, just want to shout some appreciation, love you and your content. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Smash a like, everyone. Should you be back with me for the Gameweek review on Monday. Hope your arrows are green. Ciao for now, everyone.